Hello everyone, I'm Taylor and I garden on 27 acres in rural Wisconsin for bee. Today I'm going to show you how I have drip irrigation set up in my garden. I'll go through all the equipment you need and exactly how I have it set up. So here we go. Starting at the faucet end here, I'm going to go through the parts that I have on this end. So this first one is a backflow preventer so that when you turn this off, it is a pressurized system so that this won't empty back down into your water lines. So you're going to want that, and a lot of cities require that if you live in the city. This next one is a flow regulator. So this is important if you have a pump that has high pressure. So if you have too high pressure, it's going to blow your tubes off of the rest of your system here. So then at the end here, I have just these valves so that I can turn on and off certain areas. So from here, this is the one that actually goes to the garden. We have a hose buried through our yard to get there. But I do also have them in some of my landscaping. So these two each go to one of those. So I'll show you the rest of the parts in the garden. All right, so we are in my garden now, and that garden hose that comes in will need to screw into a fitting like this. So it has the garden hose fitting on that side, and then this side is what goes into this black poly tubing. So this pushes down onto here, and then you screw this part down to keep it tight. And I'm leaving all of this in my garden this year. I brought it all in last year and it was a hassle, so I'm going to see how it makes it through winter here in Wisconsin. So you now have your water into this black poly tubing. So from here, you're going to have a run of this. That is like the feeder tube. So this will be pressurized, and it has one of these at the end. So it's an end cap that pushes on again, and this screws on down to that black poly tubing. All right, so from your main runner line here, we have these little tap ins. So they do make a tool to punch these in. I did not get that. I instead used, I believe it was an 1/8 inch drill bit, and I'm not sure if that was easier or not. I did have one that I put it in too crooked. It didn't seal right, so it worked. It did save me money, but it did also come with some of the difficulties. So these pieces then, this punches into that tube here, and then it again goes onto your drip tape, and so you push the drip tape onto this end here, and then you screw this down. So you can see that's what we got going on here. So this is the drip tube that has the emitters. So let me stand up here for a second. So we've got the hose. Whoa, there we go. The hose coming in here to this fitting. The black poly tube runs along here. And then I have 2 drip lines then that go off from here. So this drip tubing then runs all the way down here. And then I'll show you what I did at the end there to stop it, because they do have fittings that you can buy for that, but I came up with a better method. Okay, so this is, I'll show you where it came down to the opposite end here. This is at the very end here. So this is what I did, is I have this sheath part cut from the drip tube that I put over this end, and I just curled it up twice. Oh, it's stiff. You can see that. So I folded, and then squished it, and then put that sheath over it. And that I have had no issues with them blowing off or anything. So it's been a good method, and it did save some money, I think. So I just cut the emitters off each side of this, and that's how long this is. Here is what the roll of drip tape looks like. I got a really long length of it, which is nice just to have extra. So they're different colors depending on the emitter spacing. So each one of these is an emitter. And when you're laying this out, you want them to be face up so that the sediment isn't trying to get out of them through your pipe or through that emitter. So that's what that looks like. So on my run of drip tape, and the drip tape does expand and contract with the sun. So it is going to move, it is going to get kinks in it. That's just kind of the nature of it. But once you have your plants on, they kind of keep it more in line. So I do have these garden staples, and they'll just hold that down. So I have one at the start, at the end, and quite a few in between, just to try to help that stay in line. So in my garden, how this is all laid out, this area here is where everything feeds from. So I have a line, a feeder line that goes here all the way down, and that feeds this line here. There's two here that come out. It joins with the third one that's over there. So these are kind of goofy at the start. And these run then down these three holes. See, you can see them in there. So they stay under my fabric, which has worked great. If it's over it, it's going to pool and go everywhere. You definitely want it under, and they're also stapled in place there. So I also have 3 lines that go in here, and this is where I have my carrots. So they don't have fabric on there, but I use leaves and grass trimmings for weed suppression there. Then we have the walkway. Then I have 3 more lines that come here and then down. And then same thing on this way. There's the 3 and they come down. So I'll show you what's in the strawberries behind there next. Okay, so I'm back at the feeder point here. So now there's a strawberry line that comes off here and runs over here. So there's 4 lines that come out of here and run all the way to the end. And then from here, I have an elbow. So there's a bunch of different fittings like this if you need multiple main lines. There's T's, there's 4-ways, there's elbows, there's just connectors. So then we come out here, and I have 2 that run the length of this here. And then this is the asparagus bed here. It was new last year. And I have a T here that runs another feeder all the way down here that feeds these 3 lines that run the length of this. And then I also, this is going to be hard to see. So this line also comes out here. It runs into a T to feed the trees here. So there's a T like right here. There's a main line that has an elbow here and runs over here. And then I actually have drip tube that feeds all of the trees. So this is the drip tube. Drip tape seems to work better for straight applications, but this is great because I have, you can see a couple, it goes around the tree a couple times. And then these have little end caps too. So that's how this whole area gets fed. Let me see if I can get a good wide shot for you here. So again, all this water is coming from here, another feeder line that way, feeder line this way to feed the trees, and that back row there. All right, I'll show you my pots next in the garden that I have hooked up to drip. Okay, so this is the pots that I have in the garden, and their drip is on a different mainline run. So that one is running from here all the way just to feed these, so that I can easily turn these off because they do not need as much water as the rest of the garden I found last year. So I was glad that I did it this way. So each one of these is tapped in here. Now, we didn't have solid black poly. I should have ordered some of that too. I totally messed that part up. So this is like a fridge line or something my husband got from Menards, and it worked great. No issues there. So then I have another, this is a connector here that connects these two, and then this again is that drip tube. So you can see in this one, comes off here. I have a couple of those landscape staples, and then this black part is the part that's emitting water. So those worked great this year. I'm glad that I did that. It made it a lot easier to water that stuff. So I will put links below to all the sizes and fittings and everything that I have in my garden. I have bought all my stuff from Drip Depot, and they have kits that you can customize to your needs. And that's what I started with, because it's all very confusing on what size goes to what and what fittings you need and how it all works. So that's where I bought all my stuff from. Highly recommend them. They were a great company to work with. So one note is that you'll have to choose your emitter spacing. My garden, I believe I have 9-inch on here now. The landscaping, I did a second order and got that one, and I did all 6-inch spacing. So I would recommend probably getting 6-inch spacing unless you know you're only going to plant things so far apart. Here in sand country, unfortunately, we pretty much need an emitter per plant. So that is going to be something to watch out for that I didn't do. I do have to do some supplemental watering if we're having a very dry spell, because the sand under my soil is really drying everything out because it's excessively draining. So one thing to watch out for when you're picking your emitter spacing is your soil type, because that soil, if it's highly draining, it's going to just go straight through it. It'll be more like a point source, and it won't spread very far from that one little emitter. So in the future, I'm going to get 6-inch spacing, and I'm going to plant a plant at each emitter spot so that I know the roots are getting water straight from there. All right, I'll take you around my landscaping now just to show you what I've got going on here as well. So this tube starts here, and I have a valve that I can turn 1 or 2 of these off. So I actually run the entire garden on at one time typically, and there's enough water pressure in there to water everything, which is super nice. In the future, I want to add a automatic timer deal on here because I forget about it a lot, and forget to set myself timers. Like, it's super easy to figure that out, right? Maybe I'll get there this year. So we have the feeder tube here, that black poly tube, and then we have drip tape coming off here. So it's hitting every plant on the way, and the same thing on here. So in the future, I'm going to have more wood chips in here, so they'll be more buried and covered, because obviously it looks kind of goofy with them just sticking out here. So from here, then to get to the other side landscaping, we've got this feeder tube here that runs all the way along here. There's one spot here, see if I can even find it, that it comes out of here. I have a T, comes out over here, runs in over here, and there is a drip tube to feed that peach tree there. So this year, I need to add one here that goes over to the blueberry bushes in there. Okay, so from where that tree line taps in, there's a T there, and it comes over here to a T here. So this main line runs to the next area. So from here, I just have it to a stop right here. So this is the one I'm going to tap in for the blueberries. And then these 3 drip tapes go out here to feed this area. All right, so then that main line comes up around here. There's an elbow over there, comes over here, and it kind of got buried here. So we have a T that feeds it a main line over here to this little area here, and then this one goes out over here into this area, and then it has a stop there, and it has the 3 tubes there. So I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to do with the rest of this area. It is perennials, and typically we get enough rain for perennials around here, but last year was an extreme drought, so I guess we'll see if that's going to be our new normal or not. So we'll see what I add for the new area there. And then this is where that other one comes in, the feeder. You can see it right now. So it's got an elbow here, and then that tube comes out down here. It's got a stop, and then there's 3 lines running out there. So that's all from the back, because we only have the two faucets off of our house, which is unfortunate. All right, so then this is in the front of the house, and this is on a separate hose system. So it comes in right here, and my husband made this PVC piece, which I must have put it in the greenhouse, and I'll show you that. You're in the way. So that connects in there. There's two different hoses in here, main lines that feed off of that each way, and they have a valve on there too. So then I think I only have 4 in between here, and I should have done a 5th one, and I'll probably add it this next year, just because this soil needs a lot of work. You can see it's really sandy, so those need more water up here to them. So again, under the fabric, and so that one has 4, this one has 4, this one has 4, this one has 4, and then they end at the end there. So then that piece that he made also has a run that comes down and connects into these two here. So this one main line ends right in there. So this one has these 3 come off that feed the back here. And then this one goes up here, and I'll jump up there and show you how that one works. All right, so this is the last piece of the puzzle here. So that one, again, it connected in back there, comes up here, and I tapped into each side on this one. Here's the ender piece, tapped in, and they go each way just because it made the most sense to have both of these start over here. So those go each way, and these have annuals up here, so it's really nice to have that them on drip too. Again, you turn it on and you don't have to worry about it, but it'd be nice to have a timer up here too. Here is that extra piece that my husband made for that cut flower garden out in front. You can see the hose comes in here, and I do have quick connects and valves at the start of each one of these in case you need to pop the hose off. It's really handy. So this comes in, he's got a bunch of these inline valves, and then these go and connect to the black poly connectors here. So these also have valves, which is really handy to have. So that was a really good addition, and nice that he made that for me. I forgot to mention that here's what the dimensions are on that PVC fitting, and then these, I believe, were the same deal here. Yep. So hose adapter, and then those ran. This is the other end of what I was showing you earlier. All right, that is how I'm using drip tape and drip tube in my gardens to help with efficient watering. I hope that I covered everything that you are looking for. If not, you can reach out on Instagram and Facebook at Tailored Acres. Otherwise, take care and enjoy.